Deep within the Bay of Bengal, there lies a chain of islands called the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. These islands are home to a very special group of people known as the Jarawa Tribe. The Jarawa are one of the oldest communities on Earth, their history stretching back thousands of years. They live a life closely connected to nature, their traditions and customs passed down through generations. This essay will explore the history, culture, and current situation of the Jarawa Tribe, a story marked by both struggle and resilience. The Jarawa Tribe's ancestral lands are located in the South and Middle Andaman Islands. They occupy a reserved area of 742 square kilometers, a territory they have protected and lived in harmony with for centuries. The Jarawa are a nomadic people, meaning they move from place to place, following the rhythms of nature. Their knowledge of the forest is profound, their survival intertwined with the delicate balance of their ecosystem. The Jarawa are believed to have migrated from Africa tens of thousands of years ago. Their language is distinct and not easily traced to other known languages. This isolation has allowed them to preserve their unique way of life, but it has also made them vulnerable to outside influences. For centuries, the Jarawa lived in isolation, their world untouched by the outside. However, the arrival of colonizers in the 18th century marked a turning point in their history. It brought about changes that continue to shape their lives today. The Jarawa's early history is shrouded in mystery. We know they have lived on the Andaman Islands for a very long time. Their way of life has remained largely unchanged for centuries. The Jarawa are hunter-gatherers. This means they rely on hunting animals and gathering food from the forest to survive. Their knowledge of the forest is remarkable. They know the secrets of the plants and the habits of the animals. They can identify edible roots, fruits, and honey. The Jarawa are skilled hunters. They use bows and arrows to catch wild pigs, monitor lizards, and fish. They also use baskets to trap fish in the rivers and streams. The Jarawa people live in close-knit groups. Family is very important to them. Elders are respected for their wisdom and knowledge. They teach the younger generation the ways of the forest and the importance of preserving their traditions. Life for the Jarawa is not always easy. They face challenges from the weather, wild animals, and illness. However, they have adapted to their environment and learned to thrive in the challenging terrain of the Andaman Islands. The arrival of the British in the late 18th century marked a significant turning point in the Jarawa's history. The British established a penal colony on the Andaman Islands, disrupting the traditional way of life of the indigenous tribes. Initially, the Jarawa were relocated, but they resisted this forced displacement. This resistance led to a period of conflict between the Jarawa and the British. The Jarawa, fiercely protective of their land and freedom, launched attacks on settlements, which the British met with punitive expeditions. This cycle of violence continued for decades, casting a dark shadow over the relationship between the two groups. The British attempted to pacify the Jarawa through various means, including offering gifts and attempting communication. However, the Jarawa remained wary and continued to defend their territory. The legacy of this colonial encounter continues to impact the Jarawa today. The arrival of outsiders brought with it new diseases to which the Jarawa had no immunity. This resulted in a sharp decline in their population, further threatening their existence. The impact of colonialism on the Jarawa serves as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of forced assimilation and the importance of respecting indigenous land rights. The Jarawa are skilled hunters and gatherers. They have a deep understanding of the forest and its resources. They use this knowledge to sustain themselves, relying on traditional methods passed down through generations. Their hunting techniques are particularly noteworthy. They are adept at crafting bows and arrows, which they use to hunt wild pigs, a primary source of protein in their diet. They also hunt monitor lizards, utilizing their knowledge of the reptiles' behavior and habitats. Fishing is another essential aspect of their subsistence. The Jarawa use handcrafted bows and arrows to spear fish in rivers and the sea. They also weave intricate baskets, which they use as traps to catch fish. Gathering edible plants, fruits, roots, and honey is equally important for their survival. The Jarawa possess an encyclopedic knowledge of the forest's bounty, knowing which plants are safe to eat and which have medicinal properties. They move through the forest with an innate understanding of its rhythms and cycles. The Jarawa build temporary shelters using materials found in the forest. These shelters provide protection from the elements and a place to rest. They are constructed using branches, leaves, and other natural materials, demonstrating their resourcefulness and adaptability. Their nomadic lifestyle requires them to be adept at building and dismantling these shelters as they move from place to place. Section 5, A New Era. First, friendly contacts. After centuries of isolation and conflict, the year 1974 marked a turning point in the relationship between the Jarawa and the outside world. It was the year the first friendly contact was established. A team of Indian officials and anthropologists approached the Jarawa with caution and respect, offering gifts such as coconuts and bananas. This initial contact was a breakthrough. It marked the beginning of a new era of peaceful interaction. Over time, contact teams continued to visit the Jarawa, gradually building trust and establishing a rapport. These interactions provided valuable insights into the Jarawa's language, culture, and way of life. The Jarawa, though initially wary, began to reciprocate the friendly gestures. They would accept gifts and even venture out of the forest to visit nearby settlements. This marked a significant shift in their relationship with the outside world. The establishment of friendly contact brought about a sense of hope for the future. It opened the possibility of peaceful coexistence and the protection of the Jarawa's rights and way of life. However, it also brought new challenges, raising questions about how to balance the tribe's need for isolation with the encroaching modern world. Section 6, Jarawa in the 21st century, electoral participation and modern challenges. The 21st century has ushered in a new era for the Jarawa, marked by both progress and challenges. In a historic move, 19 Jarawa members were included in the electoral roll for the first time in November 2024. This significant development symbolizes their growing integration into the Indian democratic process. The decision to participate in the elections was made by the Jarawa themselves, signifying their willingness to engage with the outside world on their own terms. It also reflects the Indian government's efforts to recognize and uphold the rights of indigenous communities. However, this integration also brings about new challenges. The Jarawa's traditional way of life is increasingly threatened by encroaching modernity. The Andaman Islands have become a popular tourist destination, leading to concerns about the impact of tourism on the Jarawa's fragile ecosystem. Another challenge is the construction of the Andaman Trunk Road, which cuts through the heart of the Jarawa Reserve. While the road provides connectivity to remote parts of the islands, it has also led to increased interactions between the Jarawa and outsiders, raising concerns about their safety and well-being. Section 7, Government Policies and Criticisms. A delicate balance. The Indian government faces the complex task of balancing development with the protection of the Jarawa's rights and way of life. The current policy focuses on minimizing contact with their tribe, recognizing their vulnerability to outside influences. The government has implemented measures to restrict tourism in the Jarawa Reserve and limit interactions between the tribe and outsiders. However, these policies have also drawn criticism. Some argue that the friendly contact policy is a form of internal colonialism, gradually assimilating the Jarawa into mainstream society. They argue that true protection lies in respecting the Jarawa's isolation and allowing them to determine their own future. The debate over the Andaman Trunk Road exemplifies this dilemma. While the government argues that the road is essential for the development of the islands, critics contend that it has come at the expense of the Jarawa's isolation and well-being. The construction of the road has led to increased instances of illegal poaching and logging in the reserve, further threatening the Jarawa's traditional way of life. The government's efforts to provide education and healthcare to the Jarawa have also been met with mixed reactions. While some argue that these services are essential for improving their living standards, others fear that they could lead to the erosion of their cultural identity. Section 8, the Jarawa today, resilience and uncertainty. Despite the challenges they face, the Jarawa have shown remarkable resilience. They have adapted to changing circumstances while striving to preserve their unique culture and traditions. Their knowledge of the forest, passed down through generations, continues to serve them well, enabling them to sustain themselves in a rapidly changing world. However, their future remains uncertain. The pressures of tourism, development, and climate change continue to threaten their way of life. The Jarawa story is a reminder of the importance of respecting indigenous rights, protecting cultural diversity, and finding a balance between development and preservation. The Jarawa's ability to thrive in one of the world's most isolated environments is a testament to their strength and adaptability. Their story highlights the importance of listening to indigenous voices and allowing them to lead the way in determining their own future. The world can learn much from the Jarawa. Their profound connection to nature, their sustainable practices, and their resilience in the face of adversity offer valuable lessons for us all. It is our collective responsibility to ensure that the Jarawa can continue to thrive on their ancestral lands for generations to come. Section 9. Conclusion. Protecting a fragile legacy. The Jarawa Tribe story is a testament to the enduring spirit of indigenous cultures. Their ancient connection to the Andaman Islands, their remarkable knowledge of the forest, and their resilience in the face of adversity offer valuable lessons for humanity. As we navigate the complexities of the 21st century, it is imperative that we prioritize the protection of indigenous rights and cultural diversity. The Jarawa's future hangs in the balance. The pressures of tourism, development, and climate change pose significant threats to their way of life. It is our collective responsibility to ensure that the Jarawa can continue to thrive on their ancestral lands, their culture and traditions preserved for generations to come. This requires a concerted effort from governments, policymakers, and individuals to prioritize the needs and aspirations of indigenous communities. The Jarawa story reminds us that true progress lies not in assimilation, but in respecting and celebrating diversity. By listening to indigenous voices, learning from their wisdom, and working together, we can create a future where the Jarawa and other indigenous cultures can continue to flourish, enriching our world with their unique perspectives and traditions. Let us strive to protect this fragile legacy for the benefit of the Jarawa and for the benefit of all humankind.